Howdy, YouTube. This is Steven, and I'm back with another lyrical analysis. This time I'll be analyzing the song We're All Different Yet the Same by Jolin Tsai. And just this song is Jolin Tsai's latest single and latest release. So therefore I wanted to touch on, do a lyrical analysis of the song as well. I think this song has a very, very important message to get across. Just from the title alone, it seems like it has an important message to get across. So, with that being said, here we go with the lyrical analysis. But one more thing, just want to give a shout out to the website Jolin Generation for being a great source for Jolin Tsai song lyrics. So thanks a lot, Jolin Generation. All right, here we go. A woman and a woman mutually love each other. It's remarkable and yet common. All right, so we're talking about two women who love each other mutually. And Jolin says that it's remarkable yet common. People love each other. So, on the most basic level, it's just two human beings loving each other. All right. Next lyrics. Their lives turn extraordinary when they're in the same bed. Okay, so it sounds like this is turning into not just like, say, a platonic love, but more of a romantic type of love. So we're talking about two women who love each other in the romantic sense. So I guess their lives turn extraordinary when they're in the same bed. I guess they must be having some, awesome time there. All right, next lyrics. How it comes is how it will be resolved. So I guess however the problem comes is however the problem will be resolved. All right. Who cares if it's out of the ordinary? Well, I think a lot of people care because if it was, let me see if I can break this down. If it was anything that's out of the ordinary, people care about because it's not ordinary. If it wasn't extraordinary, then it would just be ordinary. Basically to sum it up, it's, who cares if it's out of the ordinary? I guess basically what I'm trying to get across is that a lot of people care. To be fair, it's not everyone's business to care, but that's the world we live in, where people often don't mind their own business and also try to mind other people's business. But that is the world we live in. But I do think that, to at least to a certain extent, this is a personal matter. And I think the only people that should be, giving their input is possibly the family members, say like your parents, because your parents raised you. I think they can have some input, and possibly your siblings. All right. Next lyrics. In the end, aren't we finding the answer to who is our most beloved? Perhaps. Yeah, I guess that's a part of life. It seems like that's been kind of pushed on us by, the media and whatnot. That, you have to be, booed up with somebody. But, some people, like society has a certain expectations. If you don't fall into that expectation, then you may experience some, discrimination based on that. Because, some people, like this song, like it says in this song, some people don't prefer, opposite sex relationships. Some people prefer same-sex relationships are, some people, that's what they want, you know. And by the way, I'm trying to be as politically correct as possible while doing this. I really don't want to offend anyone. All right, next lyrics. The willpower of these low people is strong, but what rights do the mundane world have to make things difficult? All right, so she's saying that people who are in the struggle for kind of like in the struggle. I guess I'm assuming this is the struggle for people who are in same-sex relationships. She's saying that they're strong because they're in the struggle and they are often discriminated against. And also, she's saying, what rights do people have basically to say, to make things difficult for them, like basically, I guess she's saying, like, who made you, supreme ruler to make this type of, you know, choice and make this, you know, do stuff like this? Who gave you that right? All right, here are the next lyrics. And this is the chorus. It's different. It's all the same. Contradiction there, but I think, I understand what she's saying, I think. So let me give you my interpretation. She's saying, like, it's different, where it's like, okay, it's not, it's out of the ordinary. Because, same-sex relationships, people are like, whoa, it's different. But, at the same time, she says it's all the same, because she's saying that, their relationship is based on love. So it's different, yet the same. Let's see. Everyone has different kinds of adversities. And that's true. We all have our struggle to go through. No matter if you are the richest person in the world, or the poorest person in the world, or somewhere in the middle, no matter what skin tone you have, what race you fall into, no matter, where you come from, we all have our adversities. All right, next lyrics. It's different and yet it is the same. Or it's different and yet is the same. That's how they wrote it. But basically, again, she's saying the same thing that I kind of went over previously. All right, next lyrics. If there are unions, then there are partings. So basically, if people are getting together, then people are leaving also. Yeah, and I guess that's true. Yeah. It's the circle of life, really. Next lyrics. Each has his or own, or they say their own, but I think his or her own life would probably make more sense. Or either just each has one's own whole life. There you go. So each has one's own whole life. So basically, we all have our life to live. We all do. You can't live someone else's life. Someone else can't live your life. So you got to do what is best for you. Each has one's own tender land. So I'm guessing we all have our, private area or special place to go. All right. Next lyrics. Oh, love is not an abstract belief. Instead, it is blood and sweat. So she is saying, Jolin here, she's saying that love is not something that is kind of like theoretical, or something that is, not I guess something that is basically something that is not just some crazy idea that doesn't really exist. Instead, it's actually a lot of hard work to make love work sometimes. And that's true. Love is a very, very tough thing sometimes, because to make it work, both people have to work for it. And sometimes that doesn't always happen. So when you have someone who you really feel loves you, you want to hang on to it. Okay, here are the next lyrics. And this is the second verse. The significant other turned into their respective spouses. So I guess two people are um, looking at each other, possibly. Leaving behind an out of the ordinary legacy. Why not just say an extraordinary legacy? Leaving behind an extraordinary legacy. So I guess, because they're a same-sex couple, they are leaving an extraordinary legacy. And perhaps they're also helping break down barriers for people too. Whoever, these two people are exactly. Okay, next lyrics. Loving someone, see how much courage is needed to do so. That, so here Jolin Tsai is saying that, it takes courage to love someone sometimes. In this situation, I suppose, it does because, it's frowned on by society. Oftentimes the government is not in agreement with it, or at least is not supporting it on like a federal level. As well, you get judgment from the community. So, for them, for people in same-sex relationships, it takes courage. That's what Jolin Tsai is saying. And I suppose, Jolin has a point there. All right, next lyrics. Another kind of love crystallization is the more pure and innocent romance. Okay. Not quite sure what that line means, but I guess basically another kind of love is, innocent and pure and romantic, I guess. All right. The next lyrics are the chorus, and I've already said the chorus, so I'll skip the chorus. Here are the next lyrics, and I believe this is the bridge. Who is more perfect? Who is the judge of this? So Jolin Tsai, she's asking some questions here, and these are some important questions that she's asking. She's like, who's more perfect? But I don't think there's a such thing as more perfect. Perfect is kind of like the superlative itself. It doesn't have a comparative. If you understand grammar or what I'm trying to say, you know. So no one's perfect. No one is perfect. We all are flawed. Some more than others, but we all have our flaws. And who is the judge of this? That's a good question. Who is the judge of this? I say on a human level, I guess, I say that the government has a strong influence on this. On the spiritual level, I would assume it'll be a divine deity, whoever your divine deity is. For me, I subscribe to Christianity. So my divine deity would be, the Lord, Jesus Christ, the whole Holy Ghost, and, the whole Trinity, basically. But I guess suppose if you don't believe or really practice religion, then it's like, why am I being subjected to this? Because I don't believe in this, so it's my belief, or like I have the right to have a belief. You know what I'm saying? It's like everyone's not on the same page. Some people subscribe to one religion, some people subscribe to another religion, some people don't subscribe to any religion as well. The government has its sanctions and things that it has to follow that may not correspond to same-sex relationships and marriages and things like that. And then some governments do. Like, there's some countries who do allow same-sex marriages, and there's some countries that don't. I know in the United States, it's like some states allow it and some states don't. All right, here are the next lyrics. No need for anyone to forgive. Let's just let the feeling spread and touch people. So she says there's basically no need for forgiveness, Just let the feelings spread and touch people. Just let love take over. Oh, it's different and yet all the same. Yeah, I suppose so. It is different yet all the same. Trust, hope, and love, they're all the same. Well, trust, hope, and love is not all the same. But I suppose I understand what she's saying. Like, it all is, it all kind of connects. The trust, the hope, the love all connects. All right. Here are the closing lyrics. It's different. It's all the same. From lacking of feelings to finding completion slash satisfaction. And I think they probably should have just made a choice there. But that's a translation issue there. But basically, it's all, it's different, but it's the same. From the lack of feelings to find completion and satisfaction, it, I guess we're all are on that journey, you know, we're all going for something like that. Next lyrics is different and yet is the same. It can be happiness or it can be sorrow. Yeah, that's true. Love can be happiness and love can be sorrow. Each has one's own whole life. Each has one's own tender land. Yeah, we all have our life to live. One life to live. We all have our special place. Gods, religions, and such, quote unquote, love, this kind of belief, who has the right to make rules on it? Good question. And that's a good way to end the song. What person, I'll put it that way, what human being, what person has the right to dictate what's right or wrong in a situation like this, as well as other situations. But I believe that oftentimes, let's see, one argument is possibly biology, where it's like, okay, men and women go together and it helps, continue and perpetuate the human race. Because, men and women have children, and that keeps the human race alive and thriving and going. And people would argue that the same sex relationship don't do that. So it would be like they are putting kind of like, I guess, stifling the human race in a way. And I suppose another argument would be religion, from a cultural sense. Like some religions, I'm not sure which religions, but I do know that at least in Christianity, I believe that it does sort of speak on that. And I don't believe that it speaks in favor of same-sex relationships in the Bible. However, some people have their own interpretations, and, you have your right to have your own interpretations. But from a Christian perspective, I believe that it is considered a sin, as far as I know. But, we all, fall short of the glory. We all sin. We all have, our sins to atone for. So is one sin greater than the other, or is it we put more weight on this one? And I think it's possibly we do that because of cultural, basically. Where it's like some things are acceptable. At one point it wasn't acceptable for teenage girls to get pregnant. Now it's kind of no one really makes a big issue out of it. But like, say 50 years ago, if you were a teenage girl and you were pregnant, like you would be looked at like people would treat you like, I guess, how they treat people in same-sex relationships, like really kind of like, whoa, like you need to stay away from me, kind of like that. Something like, or at least something like that. But I guess now, like, that's a sin too, and it took two people to make, to do that sin. Um, but I suppose I could go on for um, longer than I should. So I'll bring that part to a close, and I'll speak on the music video a little bit. All right, for the music video, it's very interesting. It takes place mostly in the hospital, and it's a lot of dialogue, but I don't really have a translation for the dialogue. But I'll just sum it up. Basically, the older lady in the hospital, like her lover is in a traumatic state. She needs medical attention and like immediately. However, they've been in a relationship, I think, for like 3 decades, but since they're not married because they can't get married, she has no right to. She doesn't have the right by law to sign a permission waiver, or to give the surgeons permission to do the operation. And the woman is in a incapacitated state, like she can't do it herself. So this is the only person who can do it, but she doesn't have the right to do it. And because of that, ultimately the woman dies because no one has the right to do the surgery because her family isn't there, and like the woman who is there, who loves her and who's been with her for 30 years, doesn't have the legal right to do that, which is sad. But that is the law. Ultimately, the lady dies, and there's a strange part that happens in the video. Like the woman turns younger, and then Jolin comes in, and they're both dressed in wedding dresses, and they have this wedding, and then Jolin puts a ring on the lady's finger. So I'm guessing that Jolin and Tsai, well, not necessarily. Scratch that. But, they both kiss. And I wonder, did Jolin and Tsai use a stunt double for the kiss? I don't think she did. So I'm like, whoa, like Jolin Tsai kissed a woman or kissed a girl. I wonder, did she like it? But on a serious note, Jolin Tsai is using her platform to bring attention to certain issues. So I'll give her her kudos and props and respect for that, because she doesn't have to do that, but she is doing that. And I also give her props for touching on this subject, but also taking it to another level, which is the legal aspect of it, where this could actually happen in real life. This right here, the whole legal issue part of it, when it comes to situations like this, and like this could actually happen, and I think it did happen, and this may have inspired the music video for that, and that's sad. And I suppose that would be an argument for same-sex unions, same-sex marriages, whatever people want to call it. That would be an argument for it. And also, I just want to commend Jolin and Tsai, for listening to me and my complaints. I'm pretty sure she didn't, but I did have some, a slight issue, because I remember watching her video for Fantasy, and I was like, okay, all right, that's cool. But oftentimes when it was talking about marriage, it was talking about two dudes, and I was like, well, what about the women? Why don't they ever really show the women? So finally, Jolin and Tsai, but she brought some attention to the women. So, all right, so hey, thanks a lot for doing something like that, Jolin. But I think I've gone on for long enough. I could probably go on for like another 30 minutes about this, this whole situation here. But I'll bring the video to a close for the time being. But what are your thoughts? What are your opinions? Feel free to comment. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate the feedback and the support. Thanks a lot for watching this lyrical analysis. Until next time, adios and goodbye for now.